Prime Minister Narendra Modi's BJP party triumphed in the most recent round of state elections. This comes after his government's decision last November to withdraw 86% of India's outstanding currency from circulation. Srinivas Tiruvedantai, research director at the Jerome Levy Forecasting Center, says the BJP's success is due to a rising middle class. Srinivas, thank you very much for having us back on the show. So, a big surprise win for Modi's party. I learned this weekend, and I didn't know this, that this state election is the third biggest election in the world. So there's the Indian election, and then one other, and then this state is so big, it's the third biggest in the world on its own.
On its own, it would be like the fifth biggest country.
Incredible fact. So what is the big political takeaway from this vote?
I mean, one thing, it clearly gives him, the Prime Minister and his party, mandate to continue with whatever policies they can. But also importantly, the Prime Minister's party still doesn't have a majority in the upper house. So in 2018, this will enable them to get a majority in the upper house as well. So they can follow more of their policies without opposition.
And that was kind of the read-through that investors had following the state election result, right? That they were just looking ahead to 2018 saying Modi is going to be able to move ahead. What kind of policy initiatives or prescriptions is he going to offer once he does have control?
You know, that's a difficult question to answer, because so far, if you look at what he has followed in terms of policy, in terms of what the wish list has been for international investors and generally speaking, the financial markets, he has delivered some, but he has not also delivered some. So it's not very clear what he wants to do. He is his own man, and it's not very clear what exactly he is going to do. But generally speaking, the economy has done fairly well compared to other EMs, and the investors have faith that he will follow investor-friendly policies.
All right, let's talk about the trade, because the Indian stock market, if you look at the Nifty, it's done very well, particularly in a local currency in recent years. Last year, people loved Brazil, and you recently put out a call that's saying, forget Brazil, go long India. So what is the essence of that thesis?
So here are the two things, right? Brazil, if you look at it, it's still mired in recession. The fourth quarter was pretty weak again. The key bet, the market has already gone up a lot. From its low, it's gone up more than 100%. So betting that there is going to be a recovery. The key thing in Brazil is there's still a lot of debt in the corporate sector, and the household sector is still retrenching. And the key thing that has been holding them up are two things. One is the government deficit, which has widened, and number two, their trade balance, which improved dramatically, partly because imports collapsed, but partly because commodity exports came back, thanks to commodity price rebound and a global inventory cycle. So if you look ahead, you know, the global inventory cycle, this is not like we are coming out of a massive recession that the inventory cycle is going to go on for several years. You know, it will start to lose momentum in the next quarter. And commodity prices are already coming under some pressure at least. So one source of their growth is going to go away. Next is the government. The government has promised to rein in the deficit, because partly to assuage international investors who have given them a very long rope. On the other side, for India, it's a net commodity importer. So if commodity prices go down, it's positive for them. Second is, post-demonetization, the government is trying to increase the deficit to help the economy. So that's a positive for them. And they will also cut interest rates probably, because inflation has come down.
I want to ask you about India's demonetization policy. It's been more than 4 months after the country announced that. Has it accomplished its stated goal of reducing or curbing black money?
We don't know, and we won't know until the tax returns come out. They have not released the full information, because there are two issues. One thing is very clear, that they were initially thinking a lot of the currency is not going to come back, but that's not what has happened. But most of it came back. But many of the people might have just declared, return the currency, but they have to pay the penalty when the tax time comes. So we'll know how much of the black money is going to come out during that time.
Now, one thing you observed was that India saw a rise in cash usage over the past 8 years, leading up to this demonetization effort. To what extent did that drive the growth that we've seen in Indian credit, real estate prices, demand for gold, and here, the currency itself, the rupee?
Yeah, I don't think this is driving credit. This is a manifestation that credit is growing fast.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in the monetarist view that cash drives credit. Rather, the credit drives cash. But what this showed is that rise of black money. Because if the economy, the activity is growing and credit is growing fast, the people who are taking the rent and who are sucking black money out, that also grows with the economy, right? So, and they tend to pull it out in cash because you obviously can't keep it in a bank account. So, and the increase of cash shows the growth of black money.
All right, real quickly, and this is sort of a bad question to end on real quickly. We just have a few seconds. What's the big long-term political theme in India besides this year's trade or whatever?
No, the big long-term political theme, if you look over the last 25 years, it has been one of a transformation of growth, and it's been a tremendously positive story. And I think most of the ingredients are still in place. And so in a very long-term sense, India is a very bullish story.